The average square footage of a home across the globe is 750 square feet or 70 meters. That is very small. It means the basic average space left over after basic things like cooking, walking the dog, and even washing clothes is even smaller. So where does this leave people who want to have fun inside? Exactly, the true gamers of the human race. Somewhere that we already have. The kitchen table.
And once big desktop computers came out, it came out with something else that reimagined the desk again into the desk setup. And people are absolutely crazy for the desk setup. There are subreddits, YouTube channels, and even websites
dedicated to the design and upgradability of your desk setup. And this is where I think the genre is changing again, morphing into a minimally designed but multi-use setup that is stylish and also efficient.
Which leads me to introducing the Mega Mini Desk setup, usually consisting of one nice large monitor, a tiny sit-stand desk, and one comfy chair. This has evolved from the work/school from home generation, and now everyone is going back to work, so the space is now being fully designated as dual use, which is why I have this giant chair now. Ponder this, you went from going to a place 5 times a week to none, so you changed around how your house was set up. There's only so much you can get done sitting at your couch, so you put a regular old desk setup in there, but now you have to go back to the office, so I'm recommending making a more comfortable dual use situation for maybe just the work from home Fridays. This leaves you with an open desk at the house that you sometimes need, but is also where you can get some gaming done and maybe some crafting in the other times that it's not being in use for work. And I've seen this is where people will actually shrink their setup quite a bit. They've gone down to just one nice monitor and like a console and maybe a place to hook your laptop up, because you're not going to be at it every day, so it's going to always be different. So here is what my version of that looks like. I'm calling it the Mega Mini Desk setup because it's still a small space that really provides a lot of options. So let's go into the hardware and look what we actually picked for this setup. And the big hardware items we're going to start with here are the desk and the chair, which both were sent over by Flexispot, but this wasn't the reason why we chose them for this project. So the desk is the Flexispot Comhar Electric Standing Desk, or the EG8 Standing Desk. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a desk that comes in multiple sizes, but we have the smaller size here. And it comes with a bamboo top that I think looks very nice. And this whole thing was super easy to set up. It took about 15 or 20 minutes and came in box. So you pull it out, put on the legs, flip it over, and turn it on. It's that easy. This thing is very sturdy, having a nice rail around the entire bottom of the desktop, cleverly hiding a drawer right at the center. I was able to stuff my headphones in there, but a controller was just a little bit too tall to fit in. Now to the right of this, we have the control panel for the desk, which it has an up and down keys, a height indicator on the left here, and memory presets up to 4, so that if a few different people are using this desk, you can easily set it to different memories to have it go up and down wherever you please. In addition to having a nice USB charging dock. It has one USB-A and one USB-C, and the A is at 27 watts while the C is at 45 watts, which will get a lot of phone charging done. And the motor that's installed on here is really nice. It's not very loud, and this thing will be able to move up to 110 pounds. This thing is really well assembled, and all of the nuts, bolts, and put together instructions were super easy to follow along with, and realistically I didn't use any of them. This thing was super easy to just grab the screw pack that's labeled 1 through whatever and just put it together. It was very easy to understand. And once you have that together, you have your little nook that you can place whatever sort of setup you want on. But then you're going to need something to sit in. And because I'm only using this setup as a work from home maybe once or twice a week in addition to gaming most of the time, I went with a different chair. And I didn't actually think I was going to be using this, but I was searching around on Amazon looking for like a recliner without arms, or like something that was more comfortable than a desk chair, but not as gamery as the other ones are. A lot of these are made to look like race car seats or something like that, and it just wasn't the vibe for me. I sit in a desk chair all day at work, so I didn't want to sit in another chair like this when I got home. So I was like, I remember gaming in like a Lazy Boy back in high school. I'd drag it to in front of the TV and sit in that and play, and I was awesome. I loved it. But I was trying to find something like that that would fit for a desk like this, and that's when I actually came on the Flexispot website and saw that they had a swivel rocker chair that doesn't really have sides, which I thought was really awesome, and they were able to send this over as well. This is the Flexispot Swivel Rocker Recliner, and I have it in orange here. Really think it's orange, it looks like a leather, and it comes in 2 large boxes and is incredibly easy to put together. All of the sofa cushions just kind of slip right off, and once you snap the back into place, this thing will hold up to 350 pounds, which if it's you and maybe a big dog and another person, that'll add up to 350 pretty quick, because this thing is actually a very large seating. The whole base of this thing is like 40 inches across, so if you wanted to sit cross-legged on it, you can actually do that relatively well, and it feels like it's just a sofa, but then also is a chair. So I really enjoyed it for doing basic things, like if you're sitting in a meeting and you can still just point your computer screen at you. It was super nice to be in something comfortable versus an office chair all day. And the reason I specifically like this one is because it doesn't have any arms. So for this desk setup here, you can actually just kind of swoop in and sit down easily without having to kind of move it and forth. Now, if you want to stand, you're gonna have to move it away. If you're not going to, it's pretty easy to just be comfortable and slide right in. It's also got a little feature here too. It's got hidden storage on the left side of the chair, which I was able to jam some controllers into and make this setup look even cleaner, just not having anything on the desktop, and then you're chilling. I really like this chair. Now that we have the big stuff out of the way, let's look at the main heart of the setup here. And it's going to be 2 little boxes that make this one screen work a lot more for what we got here. And what we got here is a budget monitor, but that doesn't mean we skimped. This is a 32-inch, 144 Hz, 1 millisecond display with AMD FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync. This monitor comes in around $440, which I think is very cheap for a 4K monitor at this refresh rate and size that isn't curved. I personally don't like curving on monitors of that size. I think they have to be a little bit larger for the curving, but I think 32 inches is perfect for this desk size. And I think they were able to get away with this cheap pricing because this monitor doesn't really have any of the bells and whistles, which is why we end up with the 2 boxes under it to make all the features flushed out. Now, it does have a headphone out, so if you connect a console to this, you'll actually be able to get your headphones plugged right into the monitor, but I'd recommend using these instead. And these are the SteelSeries Arctic Nova Pro wireless multi-system gaming headset. These things are one of my favorite pieces of tech that I've picked up in a long time. It's got swappable batteries, a little dock that you're able to plug 2 different sources into and switch back and forth from, in addition to being able to take the source from the base here and a Bluetooth connection. So if you have something on your phone like a Teams call and you want to crush some orcs on your Xbox, you can hear both at the same time. And this is realistically what everything should be going to. This is an incredible feature that doesn't exist on anything else. Being able to blend the 2 different audios and quickly switch between them, in addition to swapping the batteries, is just absolutely huge. I love these headphones. These are a gamer's must-have item if you are looking at making a setup and you're not just using speakers. But if you're not just using a console and you're using a laptop in addition to this, you're gonna need a dock because the monitor doesn't really have any other options for input. It just has DisplayPort and HDMI. The one I'm using here is the BenQ B-Creatus USB-C hybrid dock. And specifically I use this because it'll go up to 3 monitors, but it'll do 1 monitor at 4K 120, which I think is the awesome part. So you can feed your laptop in and it'll do HDMI out to the display, in addition to clicking the button once and swapping over to your game console, or your Steam Deck, plugging it in and switching between your Steam Deck and your Xbox or PlayStation or whatever HDMI input you want to put in at 120 Hz. Also, running a LAN cable and running your peripherals to this just makes everything a little nicer when you can run it all to the back and then route it under the desk. Now, this device is a little expensive at $300, but it fits the needs perfectly for the setup we're doing here. It swaps between our main device and our second device, making this the multi-use setup that we're using it for, because we're going to be working here occasionally, but also gaming here. And with the press of a button, we can do that. I have links down below for all of this stuff that I'm mentioning in the video. Some of them are affiliate links, which does help me out. Now, there are some other ancillary items that we have on the desk here. Now, you can swap between your Xbox, PlayStation, or your Nintendo Switch, but your Switch is going to need a dock at this point. I'm really hoping the Switch 2 removes that option and makes the dock optional with a USB-C PD and DisplayPort functionality, which I'm really hoping for, because that would put it on the level of the Steam Deck, which you could just plug into this dock and it just loads right up. And for my temporary keyboard that fits in the little drawer here on the desk, which is oh so nice to put away while you're gaming, making this even more multi-use, keeping your desktop clean, is the Wooting 80HE. This is an incredible keyboard. It has analog switches for each range and key, with a 0.1 millimeter of accuracy to make sure that my gaming prowess is not ever missed on the battlefield. And yes, that is sarcasm, because even though this keyboard is fantastic, the skills have to be good going in. It has true 8 kilohertz polling rates, which means a 0.125 millisecond latency from the keyboard press to the USB-C jack, which is insane. I can't even think that fast. And it has an absolute ton of different controls built into the utility that you can load up as a web app on your computer, write to memory, and then this thing is off and running. For different modes and dials. I have it here in the smoked plastic case, and it just is awesome. The keyboard sounds fantastic, is super sturdy, and is a complete game changer if you're coming from non-analog key switches. And I also have the tried and true Logitech Pro Superlight. I have the Superlight 1. I would recommend getting the Pro X Superlight 2 because that has USB-C charging. The charging on this one is the stupid old micro B connector, and it's very stupid. I hate it. But I did add one little greeble on the side, which I added the Pokemon statue and a few things in the background just hanging on the wall. I really like all the different products that were picked for this setup, and I really like that it's just kind of simple and it's so relaxing being able to jump into the big chair here, lower the desk all the way down, and just load in whatever game is new and free on Game Pass. Being able to use the space as dual use and having one monitor means that I can decide what I want to do at any given time. If I need to work, I can set up my laptop. If I don't want to, I can put it away and use my game console setup that's already there and ready to go. And because of these two little boxes, the USB-C dock and the headphone dock, I can easily switch between them with 2 buttons, one for each box. So I like what I've done here. Let me know in the comment section down below if the Mega Mini desk trend isn't something you're seeing as well, because I've noticed a lot more setups are now just one monitor and a few other things on your desk versus the big many monitor setups. So let me know if you've seen this trend as well, and that's all I have for today.